Exclusive contract novel by Feilu Novel Network. In the Star Generation 2 program, my daughter exposes my identity through a parallel world. Chu Feng has become the king of the current entertainment industry based on his memories from his past life. His works are widely acclaimed and widely known. But Chu Feng had long been accustomed to this life of fame and fortune, so all of his works were not signed and he only wanted to live an ordinary life. But his youngest daughter unexpectedly participated in a second-generation star program, exposing his story. After the daughter revealed her name, there was a sigh of relief on the scene. Chu Feng. Who? I've never heard of it. However, when the program reached the second stage, with the help of family and friends, familiar faces appear in the public eye one by one. Prince of Love song, for Heavenly KingsSoon, Chu Feng's once popular works were exposed, and the identity of the Heavenly King could not be concealed. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. My celebrity father is Chu Feng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. My celebrity father is Chu Feng. Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward Binhai City, live on the program I'm Not a Star. The program I'm Not a Star invites relatives and friends of various celebrities to participate, and once it was aired, it received a lot of positive reviews. After all, netizens also want to hear the evaluation of their idol from the most scheming people around them. At the same time, there is only 1 minute left until the start of the program. Everyone in each department is ready to be in position. Host guests, please check your microphones. Check the network situation. Live streaming connection, countdown. 3, 2, 1. Start. With that sound, the program I'm Not a Star began. At the same time, netizens who have been waiting for a long time are also starting to get excited. Finally, it's almost starting. I've already eaten 2 packets of melon seeds. I heard rumors claiming that this time it seems that Huachen's sister will attend. Is it true or not? Did the owner of someone else's house also come to participate? Don't spread rumors, haven't the authorities already come out to refute them? Alright, stop making noise, everyone focus on watching. Under the dense barrage, the screen in front of netizens finally appeared. But the first to appear was the mature face of the host Chen Jieyu. Next up, a familiar voice suddenly sounded. Good evening, audience and netizens. Welcome to today's program I'm Not a Big Star. Chen Jieyu is truly a well-known supporter in China, and just a few words have stirred up everyone's emotions. The professional hosting ability also makes the viewers very comfortable, even without reading subtitles, they can clearly understand what he is saying. Alright, let's not talk too much. Let's invite our first guest. Chen Jieyu finished speaking. A passionate piece of music is played. Waiting backstage, Chu Yan also knew that it was her turn to play, and her heart began to feel a bit nervous. In fact, Chu Yan did not actively participate in this program. Originally, Chu Yan wanted to participate in a singing program, but because the 2 registration places were too close, Chu Yan found the wrong place. At that time, Chu Yan firmly believed that she would be rejected after learning that this was a program for I'm Not a Big Star. After all, there hasn't been a celebrity among relatives in my own family, not even a small internet celebrity. But for some reason, the director of I'm Not a Big Star agreed. So, Chu Yan is also ignorant until today. After taking a deep breath, Chu Yan slowly walked out of the aisle towards the center of the stage. And when Chu Yan walked out, the spot on the scene was also aimed at her face. Who is this girl? She looks a bit young. She looks so beautiful, I don't know which brother's child it will be. Impossible, don't all celebrities nowadays ban dating? How could there be children? Yeah, I guess it's a child of a celebrity's friend. Amidst the discussion among netizens, Chu Yan slowly walked to the center of the stage. Chu Yan first bent over towards Qin Jieyu, and then began to introduce herself. Hello everyone, my name is Chu Yan. The refreshing sound slowly sounded, like a clear spring in summer, tinkling. Even after using electronic and mechanical devices, netizens in front of the screen feel a bit refreshing. A thought emerged in everyone's hearts. This girl named Chu Yan must sing beautifully. I also began to speculate in my heart that this girl was the family member of some big shot. It seems that our little girl Chu Yan is still a bit cold. Please introduce yourself in more detail. Qin Jieyu joked on the side, saying that the humorous expression combined with Chu Yan's calm expression gave viewers a hint of laughter in their hearts. After saying that sentence, Chu Yan's nervousness also decreased a lot, and then she looked at the lower audience and said naturally. Hello everyone, my name is Chu Yan, I am 16 years old this year. It is still a concise introduction, but with an additional age introduction. But this situation made Qin Jieyu frown slightly, but the surface remained calm. After all, it's difficult for Chu Yan to continue with such an answer, and at the same time, this self-introduction is also very boring. In live broadcasts, boredom represents a decrease in ratings. Thinking of this, Qin Jieyu also felt that getting to the point quickly, although the program team did not tell the host the background of the guests in order to highlight the authenticity of the live broadcast. But experienced Qin Jieyu knows that the first guest to appear usually sets off the people behind, which is also a common routine used by every program team. And in previous episodes, some ordinary people were also invited to add to the program and there was a connection. Okay Chu Yan, you also know our program. Who would you like to introduce to us today? Qin Jieyu's puzzled inquiry, especially the word who, was dragged out by Qin Jieyu, arousing the curiosity of the crowd. My father. What is your father like, or has he won any awards? Qin Jieyu continued to ask in confusion. It seems that this question has stumped Chu Yan, and the expression on her face also shows some confusion to the naked eye. Yes, but there aren't many awards, Chu Yan said slowly. Surprisingly, there are awards. Upon hearing Chu Yan's answer, Qin Jieyu was also surprised. It should be noted that there are so many people in the entertainment industry, and there are only a few celebrities who can win awards. And Chu Yan didn't say much, which indicates that there are at least 2 awards. Can you tell me your father's name? Qin Jieyu asked in confusion, his eyes changing from before. But Chu Yan remained calm and then nodded slowly in front of everyone's eyes. My father's name is Chu Feng. Chapter 2. Chu Feng. I haven't heard of it at all. Kneeling down. You are listening at novel.Audio. Chapter 2. Chu Feng. I haven't heard of it at all. Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward Chu Feng. Who is this person? Do we have any celebrities with the surname Chu in our country? I don't know, I haven't heard of this person's name either. Netizens are sending barrage comments in confusion, especially after searching for this name on the browser without success. Their hearts are filled with curiosity. At the scene of the I'm Not a Star program, the doubts in the eyes of the audience below are self-evident. After Chu Yan said her father's name, everyone's audience was stunned for a moment, then frowned in confusion, searching for memories in their minds. But just a moment later, everyone shook their heads slightly, indicating that they had no impression of the name. Not only that. Even Qin Jieyu beside Chu Yan fell into a brief silence. You should know that Qin Jieyu has been working in the entertainment industry for several years, and he knows almost all the celebrities in the entertainment industry. Especially for the popular stars on the leaderboard, Qin Jieyu can recite them backwards without stopping his thoughts. But now with the name Chu Feng, Qin Jieyu has no impression at all. Moreover, the number of stars with a trendy name is even rarer, and only a few can be remembered, but none of them are surnamed Chu. Chu Yan, are you sure you're referring to a stage name? Chen Jieyu asked. After all, the names of celebrities nowadays are basically not their original names, but stage names chosen to be remembered by the public and to sound better. After hearing Chen Jieyu's inquiry, netizens also suddenly realized that their daughter is most familiar with her father's destiny. Yes, I'm pretty sure my father only used one name. Chu Yan nodded slowly, her affirmative expression sinking everyone into deeper confusion. Because they really have no impression of the name Chu Feng. Can it be to deceive people? Chen Jieyu thought of a possibility. After all, there was also an invitation for ordinary people to play before. Chu Yan, didn't you say your father has many trophies? Can you tell me what they are? Chen Jieyu continued to ask. If what Chu Yan said is indeed not deceiving and her father does indeed have a trophy, then she can use the trophy to find this person. Moreover, if Chu Yan only mentioned some niche and unknown trophies, it can also indicate that her father Chu Feng is not famous either. In this way, I don't have to waste too much time on Chu Yan anymore. Upon hearing Chen Jieyu's inquiry, Chu Yan beside her also fell into silence, as if she had encountered some problem, and her pretty eyebrows furrowed slightly. Then, amidst everyone's confusion, Chu Yan slowly pondered, it seems like one of them is the Golden Melody Award. Chu Yan's voice was not loud, but it was this kind of voice that, after Chu Yan finished speaking, caused everyone to fall into silence again. But soon, those people also exclaimed in disbelief, looking at Chu Yan on stage with an expression that seemed to be haunted. You should know that the Golden Melody Awards are created in line with international standards, targeting Chinese people around the world, and promoting the progress of the music creative industry. In other words, the Golden Melody Award can be considered the highest award in the field of pop music, and it is also the most fair award. As of now, there are not many people who have won the Golden Melody Award. And now, a 16-year-old girl said that her father had won the Golden Melody Award. How can this be convincing? Not to mention the name Chu Feng, no one has ever heard of it. Check it for me. Everyone instinctively took out their phones and wanted to search for people who had won Golden Melody Awards over the years. The netizens who watched the live broadcast in front of the computer also acted more quickly, opening the browser and inputting the Golden Melody Award. But after carefully flipping through the names of all the winners, they still couldn't find the name Chu Feng. Even the two separate words, Chu and Feng, don't exist. This is definitely a lie, right? The Golden Melody Award can basically be said to be the highest honor in China. I think it should be the same, maybe it was intentionally set by the program team. Is there a possibility that the Golden Melody Award really exists, but it was wholesale from a certain treasure? Netizens kept teasing with bullet comments, revealing doubts about Chu Feng between the lines. And Chen Jieyu was also like this. In fact, after Chu Yan said the three words, Golden Melody Award, she began to sneer in her heart. After all, as a well-known host in China, Chen Jieyu has also participated in the ceremony of the Golden Melody Awards, and there is no such person as Chu Feng. Not even a nomination. Okay Chu Yan, let's move on to the next stage now. The next step is our live connection. Since Chu Yan's father has won the Golden Melody Award, her friend must also be a well-known artist. Next, let's follow me and take a look. After speaking, taking advantage of Chu Yan's lack of attention, Chen Jieyu made a strange expression in front of the camera, which also made the audience smile knowingly. Chapter 3. Family and Friends Groups. We have invited King Lin Gu. You are listening at novel.Audio. Chapter 3. Family and Friends Groups. We have invited King Lin Gu. Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward. Contact the family and friends group on site. Don't be joking, I doubt whether there is Chu Feng at all now. Is there a possibility that her family and friends group is a customer service representative of mobile? I think everyone can speculate on the positive side. Since there is a segment in the production team, there will definitely be some celebrities coming, although they may be small stars from the 7th or 8th tier. I'll say a few, at most it's only a 3rd tier celebrity, there can't be any more. It's a bit boring, the guests this time are not as good as in previous programs. Netizens in front of the screen are all laughing and buttoning their keyboards, and the screen is also filled with unfriendly bullet comments. In this situation, the new viewers who were originally watching the show for the first time also clicked on the red cross and turned to other entertainment programs. And the remaining veteran viewers have temporarily closed the program, preparing to watch it again when the next guest appears. As a result, the overall viewership of the network is also rapidly declining. Not only that, the audience at the scene also took out their phones from their pockets and started scrolling through short videos. And the remaining audience who were still watching the stage were just holding on to their hearts to watch the excitement, their eyes filled with jokes. The most urgent one among them belongs to the chief director of I'm Not a Star. Originally, he arranged for Chu Yen to play just as an opening hot topic, which improved the condition of the subsequent guests. Unexpectedly, Chu Yen found herself well suited and even said things like the Golden Melody Award. This discerning person can tell at a glance that they are deceiving others. So, after seeing the decline in ratings, he immediately shouted to Chin Jieyu through Bluetooth earphones. Hurry up, it's the next person's turn. What's wasting so much time on her? I came to see her just to set off others. The director's anxious tone also left Chin Jieyu slightly stunned. Originally, Chin Jieyu thought Chu Yen was just an effect of the program, but to his surprise, she was just a foil. Thinking of this, Chin Jieyu's gaze towards Chu Yen changed once again, and his tone became more urgent. Sister Chu Yen, have you figured out who you're looking for? If following the normal process, there is still a game segment to be played before making a phone call, but due to the urging of the chief director, Chin Jieyu directly got to the point. After hearing the question, Chu Yen also felt a bit conflicted. After all, my own father is not a celebrity, and even if we connect with others, everyone will not know him. Just as Chu Yen was feeling a bit confused, she flipped through the address book on her phone when a number suddenly burst into her sight. This number was saved by his father Chu Feng on his phone, and he had also told him that if there was any danger, he could call this number. And his father Chu Feng emphasized that he believed in this person without any worries. But Chu Yen never called this number, so she never knew who this person was. Chu Yen once curiously asked her father who this person was, but his father never answered. Have you selected it yet? It seems that because Chu Yen has never made a decision, in order to seize time, Chin Jieyu asked from the side. Upon hearing Chin Jieyu's urging, Chu Yen also made up her mind and nodded slowly. That's it. Chu Yen said seriously. The serious expression also made netizens who were still watching on the screen chuckle. After all, a person who has never even heard of a name, and even the so-called Golden Melody Award trophy, may have been bought by someone on a certain platform. What kind of celebrity friends can there be? Are you still so serious about choosing someone to connect and assist? I'm afraid it's not the celebrity's assistant coming to help. Forget it, I'll see you in the comments section. Although the little girl is very cute, the thought of the awkward scene next makes me feel a bit nervous. I have an obsession with mental cleanliness, and in my opinion, only first and second tier talents are called celebrities, while others are at most called actors. This is too outrageous, at least I have to act a bit more like it. I'll leave first. Netizens are wantonly roasting the bullet screen. But the audience at the scene was not so happy anymore. Those who had some expectations also lowered their heads and played with their phones, waiting for this segment to pass. In such a situation, Chu Yen resolutely made a video call. The program team also plays detailed images from the phone through devices. Originally, Chin Jieyu would have thought that he needed to wait for a while, as the program was also playing a bit late at this point, and everyone might be taking a break. Unexpectedly, a few seconds after Chu Yan dialed out, the video was immediately answered without any delay. Next up. As most people lowered their heads to play with their phones and had no intention of watching the connections on the screen, an extremely distinctive sound suddenly rang out. Is it Chu Yan? At the beginning, when this sound sounded, everyone continued to swipe their phones, their minds also immersed in the joy of short videos. But soon, when they heard that sound, everyone felt something was wrong. Because this voice is so familiar, especially the tone, as if it's a friend I haven't seen in years. But this voice was a bit unfamiliar, because they had not heard it for a long time, as if they had remembered someone in the past. And this person has been with them for a long time. So, the audience below also looked up curiously at the big screen, wanting to see who the person making the sound was. But it was just a moment when everyone looked up. After seeing the familiar face on the screen, everyone was stunned for a moment, and then they opened their eyes wide and took a deep breath. Because the owner of that voice is not only very familiar to everyone, but also has occupied a long period of their youth. Are these little eyes? Jajlin. On the big screen of I'm Not a Star, a man with a standard overseas appearance appeared on the screen, with his mouth slightly raised and iconic dimples on both sides. In this situation, it also fills everyone's eyes with disbelief. But this disbelief is different from before, because there is still a hint of horror in it. They couldn't believe they could see Jajlin here. More importantly, this Jajlin was printed by a 16-year-old girl. How could this be possible? I don't know who unconsciously exclaimed in surprise. Next up. The audience exclaimed one after another. Just like a class reading morning classes, if it weren't for the host's voice and sound system bonus, otherwise it would really be covered up by the audience. And the audience of Jajlin fans felt a sudden ecstasy. Who could have imagined seeing Jlin's figure in such a program? You should know. Jajlin is a well-known musician in China, and it is not uncommon to say that he is one of the top performers. Among them, his songs such as Jiangnan and Chow Chow are the memories of many people's youth, and almost everyone's youth has his voice. Especially recently, Jajlin has been busy with things in the music industry, and even social media platforms like Weibo have not been updated for a long time. And not only that. The guests who were originally waiting to appear backstage were stunned when they saw the familiar face of senior Jajlin, and their eyes were wide open, filled with shock. The performance of live streaming netizens is completely different. Although they were also filled with shock upon seeing Jlin's figure, they fell into deeper questioning after being shocked. It's really fake, it shouldn't be peas, right? Oh my goodness, I feel like it's a recorded video. Now the production team is too deceiving, right? Jajlin has been preparing for the music industry lately, so he should be in the recording studio, right? Most netizens maintain a skeptical attitude, but the remaining netizens are excited and express their joy in the barrage. Although their emotions are different, their hand movements are surprisingly similar. That's to share this live broadcast with my friends one after another. I'm cursing. Look, Jajlin actually appeared. Brother, you have some research on videos. Let's see if it's true. Shocked, a little girl casually called out, "Little eyes Jajlin. .. With the sharing of netizens like this, netizens who had previously left, as well as passers-by who were eating melons, all clicked on the video. So, at this moment, the rapid surge in ratings across the entire network of I'm Not a Star naturally caught the attention of the program's backstage staff. Chen Jieyu immediately stabilized Chu Yan and let her show more of herself. If necessary, you can take up someone else's time. The voice of the chief director appeared again in the Bluetooth earphones, trembling as if he had just finished 800 meters. Even through the headphones, one can feel the full terror in the director's heart from his tone. But at this moment, Chen Jieyu didn't hear at all because he was lost in confusion as he looked at Jlin's figure on the screen. Are you, Uncle Lin? Chu Yan said with some confusion. Yes, Chu Yan. How have you been lately, master? Jlin's inquiry of concern. But in this way. Chen Jieyu, who had just regained his senses after hearing Chu Yan's voice, was once again stunned by Jlin's call to master. My mind also hummed like boiling water. And Chu Yan did the same. After all, she was also the first to know Jlin's identity. Especially the sentence, master. Chu Yan can be certain that the other party is referring to her own father. But at this moment. Suddenly, the second connection requests to join. Chapter 4. Her father is the master of the king of songs. Kneel down. You are listening at novel.Audio. Chapter 4. Her father is the master of the king of songs. Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward. Whose connection is it? Don't block my brother's face. What's going on with the production team? Don't you know they need to block it? I want to see Jlin, no ink stains. When that string of connections appeared, the crowd immediately began to sigh. After all, it had just blocked Jlin's face in an instant. After seeing the connection, the production team also panicked and immediately cut off the connection. After projecting Jlin's face onto the big screen again, the audience below finally regained their emotions. Uncle Lin, are you talking about my dad? Chu Yan seemed a bit uneasy and asked with some confusion. Yeah, Chu Yan, master has been doing well lately. I've been busy these past few years and don't have much time to visit him. I hope he doesn't blame me too much. Jlin asked with concern, with a guilty expression on his face. Such a situation. It also stunned the audience at the scene once again. I used to think that the saying, master, was a respectful title for seniors, but now Jlin's expression is truly genuine respect from the bottom of his heart. Dad has been doing pretty well lately, Chu Yan replied. That's good. After my music festival ends, I'll go visit my master and take you to eat delicious food. Jlin excitedly said, but what he said made everyone feel a bit absurd. Top-tier tycoons like Jlin, even if they don't have a bit of airs, are they at least a bit aloof? Not only did his smiling eyes almost disappear, but he also felt like he was trying to please Chu Yan. What exactly happened? Under such doubts, a new question reappears in everyone's mind, that is, who exactly is Chu Yan's father, Chu Feng? Or rather, what kind of existence is a person who can be called a master by top Jlin in the music industry? You should know that Jlin has won the Best Male Singer of the Year award in mainland China on the top Chinese rankings. Chen Jieyu, you must delay the time. Today's protagonist is Chu Yan. Make sure to focus the camera more on Chu Yan. The director exclaimed excitedly in his headphones. According to the back-end display, the ratings at this time have far exceeded previous episodes. And this data is still continuously rising, and the churn rate is also very low. After receiving the instructions, Chen Jieyu immediately adjusted his emotions and showed a professional expression on his face. But in my heart, everything from the director to the staff on the production team was cursed. You should know that I thought Chu Yan was just an ordinary child just now. Chu Feng is just a casual name, but now Chu Yan not only called out Jlin with just one phone call. And her father Chu Feng is someone who even calls Jlin a master. Isn't this pure deceit? The thought of almost treating Chu Yan coldly just now made Chen Jieyu feel a little nervous inside. Senior Jlin, I'm Chen Jieyu. I didn't expect to meet you here today. Chen Jieyu said politely and with a smile. At the same time, the production team also aimed the camera at Chen Jieyu, and Jlin on the screen politely nodded after seeing Chen Jieyu. Hello Teacher Chen, Jlin said in a low voice, and his expression returned to normal. However, as the camera glanced at Chu Yan again, those small eyes burst into a smile and said, Chu Yan, I didn't expect you to be recording a program. Your dad is. Jlin hasn't finished speaking yet. The connected phone number has been applied for again. And the timing of this application for connection also caused a barrage of comments from netizens to burst out in an instant. After all, Jajlin just mentioned Chu Yan's father, which once again aroused the curiosity in the hearts of netizens. But now being interrupted by others, how can those netizens give up easily? I vomited. How do I feel like this phone call was intentionally set by the program team? Who exactly is Chu Feng? Who can tell me? Isn't it too torturous? Why did Jajlin appear here and call a person named Chu Feng master? Can you stop constantly applying for connections? I just want to watch Jajlin, I don't want to watch anyone else. Netizens are discussing and urging the program team to quickly hang up the unfamiliar phone. But strangely enough, this time, the production team did not hang up immediately. Instead, the phone rang continuously. Such a situation. It also made the audience below the scene look at each other, thinking that there was an accident during the live broadcast of the program. Even Qin Jieyu looked at the staff below, his eyes full of doubt. But the chief director also has difficulties that cannot be expressed. The first time the other party applied to connect, he also had the same idea as the others, so he quickly hung up. But now for the second time the other party applied to connect, he originally wanted to hang up as quickly as the first time, but after seeing the accompanying news, the whole person also froze in place for the first time. Although the content of the information was only a short 3 words, it was these 3 words that stirred up a storm in his heart. Extremely skeptical that someone is playing a prank. Director, what's going on your end? Please refuse the call quickly. Someone has already started spraying on the official blog. Upon hearing the voice of the staff on the phone, the director finally realized. However, he did not constantly refuse the application, but instead, with a hint of desire, he inexplicably answered the phone. After the chief director accepted the application for connection, Jajlin disappeared from the screen. Next up. Another deep and familiar voice suddenly remembered. Little niece, long time no see. Chapter 5. Telephone interruption, uncle of Chu Yan. You are listening at novel.full.audio. Chapter 5. Telephone interruption, uncle of Chu Yan. Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward. What is the production team up to? I vomited. Isn't this production team outsourced, even hanging up on Jlin's video? I'm cursing, I really want to see Jajlin. Little niece. What kind of uncle is he doing anything to get on TV? You are so confused, everyone old iron, let's go. After seeing that Jlin's video call was interrupted, all the netizens in front of the screen raised their fists at the same time, and then heard a muffled sound. The lifespan of the table is remarkable. 999. This cannot be blamed on those netizens being too emotional, but rather because the interruption of Jlin's video was just an ordinary phone call. And the person making this call didn't turn on the camera, only one sound appeared. More importantly, the owner of this voice sounds at least 30 years old. The production team agreed to replace Jajlin with such a bad old man, but how could they not let those netizens stare angrily at the screen, their hearts filled with deep resentment? Especially those Jajlin fans. However, what they felt at the first moment was not anger, but 3 parts suspicion and 7 parts trance. They doubted whether they had heard or read wrong, and were in a daze whether they were dreaming at this moment. You should know. Jajlin is a top-notch presence in the music and entertainment industry, and now all traffic enthusiasts should respectfully call him a senior. Although Jlin's fan activity is not high, it is also because his fans have all started their own families and careers. Not to mention that everyone in that era had heard Jlin's songs, and even everyone could sing at least 1 or 2 songs. In such a situation. In today's program, which can barely be considered a second tier and not very popular, Jajlin is not only disturbed by unfamiliar numbers twice in a row, but the production team has also agreed for the first time. This is simply absurd numbness. Open the door to absurdity, absurdity has reached home. The emotions of everyone sitting in the audience were even more excited. At the moment when Jagelin was hung up on the video call, everyone on site immediately let out sighs and suspicions. As if a balloon was about to burst and leak, the disappointment in their tone was almost overflowing, and everyone's faces were also filled with astonishment. Then, when everyone realized that everything was true, the sighs of the crowd followed one after another, like a little mistress who had suffered all sorts of grievances and resentment. Her eyes towards the program team also became full of killing intent. If they still had rotten eggs in their hands now, they might have thrown them towards the stage and the staff long ago. But amidst the emotions of the united front, only one person has a different inner self. That is the director who has decided to accept this unfamiliar numbers application for connection. In fact, at the moment of clicking accept, before hearing the sound appear, the whole person of the chief director seemed to be at a standstill, and the voices around him all quieted down, as if he was out of touch. He could only hear his surging and jumping heart. Because he knows. If the owner of this voice is not those 3 words, then his career as a director can be sentenced to death tonight. And if Jagelin blames him for this, then even the entertainment industry itself won't want to get involved. But once you make the right bet, everyone will remember the show, I'm Not a Star, tonight, and even remember the name of the behind-the-scenes director. And on the other side, Magic City, in the big villa. Jagelin, who was hung up on the phone, also fell into confusion, and his small eyes were filled with big questions. I didn't know for a moment that my signal was not good, but rather that there were some problems with the program team. After all, he hasn't experienced being hung up halfway through the conversation for a long time. So, with such doubts in mind, Jagelin also opened his own computer. Because the production team had just focused the camera on Qin Jieyu, Jagelin also knew that Chu Yan was currently broadcasting the program. Originally, Jagelin was still searching for what program it was, but unexpectedly, on the homepage of the video website, it was Chu Yan's delicate face. In this situation, Jagelin effortlessly found his goal. At the same time, there was also some emotion in my heart. I didn't expect that Chu Yan's first appearance on screen was a popular program. You should know that at that time, I climbed up step by step to reach my current position. But when Jagelin thought of Chu Yan's father's Chu Feng, he also took it for granted. Thinking of this, Jagelin also clicked on the live broadcast to see what exactly caused him to hang up the phone. Clicking on the live broadcast, Jagelin happened to hear the deep voice slowly rising. Although in front of outsiders, this voice may just be an ordinary uncle. At the moment when Jagelin could hear him, his originally calm expression suddenly changed, and his frightened gaze trembled slightly along with his pupils. Lu Tianwang. Chapter 6. Lu Tianwang. Kneeling for Freshness. You are listening at novel.Audio. Chapter 6. Lu Tianwang. Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward, are you? Uncle Lu. On stage, Chu Yan asked in confusion, with a somewhat confused expression on her face. At the moment when that voice appeared, Chu Yan also searched for memories in her mind before asking uncertain questions. And such expressions were also clearly displayed on the screen by the camera. What do you mean, don't they know each other yet? So, a stranger stole JJ's connection. Quickly reconnect with JJ, what are the people in your backstage eating for? Netizens are venting their emotions recklessly, with everyone staring angrily at the screen. Some people with a bad temper even immediately closed the web page, causing ratings to rapidly decline. Not only that. The crowd in the live audience has already started shouting, like boiling kettles, constantly spewing out anger. Looking around, everyone had a red face, staring angrily at all the staff. If observed carefully, even some people can see their clenched fists, as if they are about to rush onto the stage in the next second. Such a situation. It also made all the staff panic. You should know for all programs, as long as there is an audience, the production team will invite a group of actors to sit in the front rows. These actors are specifically responsible for coordinating the performance of the program, which can make the overall effect of the program better. But now, these actors couldn't help but nod or clap their hands with a smile. Instead they also opened a pair of angry eyes and scanned the staff present. But at this moment, the chief director showed no concern for these things. Even when the host Chen Yujia's call came from the earphone, the director ignored it and closed his eyes, as if waiting for something. "Yes, little niece. I even hugged you when you were a child. But it's not normal if you don't remember. After all, we haven't seen each other for decades." On the other end of the phone, he patiently spoke without paying any attention to Chu Yan's behavior of not knowing him, and his tone was also full of tolerance. "By the way, niece, I almost forgot. I should have made a video call with you." Uncle Lu on the other end of the phone suddenly spoke with a realization. After he finished speaking, all the audience present were stunned and then raised a pair of hateful eyes, wanting to see who had taken their JJ. And the netizens reacted even more quickly. After the voice finished speaking, they immediately opened the screenshot and recording software, staring intently at the screen. "Let me see how to do this," the other end of the phone murmured to itself, accompanied by the middle-aged man's voice, which stunned all the audience again. The other person's appearance and tone were like parents who couldn't use smartphones. After some tinkering, in the eyes of the others who were watching with envy, the screen suddenly went black. Next up, when the screen lit up again, a familiar figure that could not be familiar appeared in front of everyone. "Little niece, long time no see," the man said slowly. But originally it could only be considered a magnetic sound, but now it feels like a subwoofer, causing everyone's pupils to start vibrating at this moment. Especially with the sharp and distinct contours of the other person, combined with the unforgettable face at a glance, I feel that my breathing becomes a bit rapid and my blood begins to flow faster. After all, that not only handsome but also extremely masculine, perfectly natural appearance, was only possessed by that one person. Heavenly King Lu Tianwang. At this moment, all the audience fell silent. As if being silenced, all the doubts, anger, and ridicule that had arisen before turned into terror, tightly surrounding everyone at this moment. Lu Tianwang. JJ in front of the screen murmured to himself, his hand holding the mouse trembling slightly. Although I recognized his identity instantly upon hearing the low voice before, it wasn't until I saw the familiar figure appear on the screen. JJ's heart still trembled. You should know that although JJ has also received many honors now, it is also one of the top players in the entertainment industry. But compared to Lu Tianwang, I am still much worse off. After all, in that era, Lu Tianwang was the direction of the entire entertainment industry. Say it bluntly. He was the trendsetter in the entertainment industry during that era. Moreover, although Lu Tianwang debuted as an actor, he also achieved tremendous success in the music industry. This behavior that spans 2 terms and has won countless awards at the same time can only be described as a fantasy. More importantly, at that time, the internet was not well developed, there were not so many fancy tricks, and there was no false data. Relying solely on Lu Tianwang's personal strength, without any trace of moisture, step by step, we have reached that position. Lu Tianwang. Netizens in front of the screen are also murmuring this name. Although most of the viewers of the program, I'm Not a Star, are young people and have not experienced the era of Lu Tianwang's rule at that time. But the movies they watched from a young age and the songs they were forced to listen to with their parents all have the shadow of Lu Tianwang. Not to mention that even at Lu Tianwang's age, his appearance is still as good as before, and even due to the traces of time, his masculine masculinity is perfectly displayed on his face. Is it really Lu Tianwang? I grew up listening to his songs since I was young. Those people who ran before Nima, come back to me. It's really fake, isn't it? Still a recorded video. The video is so numb, didn't you see that Lu Tianwang just made a phone call and then switched to the video? Not to mention anything else, even if it's fake, I admit it. Have you ever seen Lu Tianwang appear in a certain entertainment video? At the moment when Lu Tianwang appeared, a dense barrage of bullets instantly filled the entire screen. Almost instinctively, everyone was typing their keyboards with a crackling sound. At this moment, all the previously negative comments have completely turned into praise, as if it was a thrilling roller coaster, and the low ratings have also taken a turn of attack. And the most exciting one among them is the chief director of I'm Not a Star. After all, he had bet on his career before, and once he fails, he will never be able to turn over. Not only his career, but also his reputation in the latter half will be ruined in an instant. And when Lu Tianwang appeared on the screen, he knew. He bet right. And in the most direct, effective, and shocking way, tell everyone that his choice is not wrong. It's not anyone else or a stranger who hung up on JJ's phone. But it's the Heavenly King, the Lu Heavenly King. Thinking of this, the director's heart became even more excited, and he had a feeling that his program tonight, and even his name, would be remembered by future generations. Chen Jieyu, no matter what means you use, let Chu Yan have as much dialogue as possible with Lu Tianwang on stage. The chief director shouted loudly in the Bluetooth earphones, and the roaring sound also made Chen Jieyu's ears feel a bit painful. But only in this way can Chen Jieyu, who was in shock, be brought back to reality. Although Chen Jieyu has hosted many celebrities, it is also the first time he has faced someone of the same level as Lu Tianwang. Not to mention meeting for the first time on an entertainment variety show. Hello. Chen Jieyu trembled and asked, perhaps because Chen Jieyu's voice was too subtle, or Chu Yan was too important. Before Chen Jieyu could finish speaking, Lu Tianwang took the lead in speaking. Little niece, I heard your father say that you are going to participate in a singing program recently, and I happen to invite Fong Wenshui to write a word for you. Would you like to listen to it? End of speech. Everyone's faces suddenly changed once again. Chapter 7. Is this little girl a related household? Kneeling down. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Is this little girl a related household? Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward Fong Wenshui. Is he the composer master whose lyrics were included in the national textbook? Nonsense, who else can it be besides him? My goodness, I love the lyrics of his works, and every song can be called a classic. It seems like who doesn't say it, I can sing every word he writes. After Lu Tianwang uttered the three words Fong Wenshui, the audience present looked at each other and couldn't help but look at their companions beside them, seeing their ecstatic selves in their excited eyes. It's not surprising that the audience is too emotional and difficult to control, but Fong Wenshui's lyrics are truly heartwarming. You should know. At that time, Fong Wenshui's lyrics became popular throughout the entire country. Except for those unsigned songs, almost 70% of the remaining songs are lyrics written by Fong Wenshui. In other words, as long as the lyrics are written by Fong Wenshui, even if they are handed over to an unremarkable singer, he can still become popular. So, Fong Wenshui's words can be said to be invaluable in the entertainment industry. And because with the passage of time, Fong Wenshui also gradually began to seal his pen. Especially in the past few years, there has been no news spreading, as if it has faded away and completely disappeared from the internet. This has made some fans of Fong Wenshui even more anxious, frantically asking some big-name celebrities to invite Fong Wenshui to make a comeback. But the final result often ends in disappointment. And for this point, I also deeply appreciate the JJL in front of the screen. At that time, although JJL was at the peak of popularity, it happened to be at the time when Fong Wenshui had finished writing. Even though I repeatedly sought Fong Wenshui to write lyrics for him, I was always evaded by him for the reason of resting and adjusting my body. Therefore, Fang Wenshui's words are not only precious, but also difficult to find. And now, a little girl not only invited Lu Tianwang, but also had him personally invite Fang Wenshui to write lyrics for her. In such a situation, why not shock everyone and marvel at who the little girl's father is? You should know that with Fang Wenshui's lyrics and Lu Tianwang's appearance, it can be foreseen that this song will definitely be among the top 3 on the next chart. Attention everyone, focus all camera positions on Chu Yan. Make sure to record the entire process of this song, and not overlook any angle or detail. The chief director shouted excitedly inside the Bluetooth earphones. This song can currently be considered the world's first live version, and it was also first sung in an entertainment program. This means that as long as the official version is not released, there must be a large number of people watching their programs repeatedly in order to listen to this song. So, under the command of the chief director, Chu Yan's appearance was also presented in the screen from multiple angles by the camera. Netizens in front of the screen also held their breath and looked eagerly at Chu Yan in the picture. "Thank you Uncle Lu, but it's not necessary now," Chu Yan said apologetically. In fact, after hearing Fang Wenshui's name, Chu Yan also felt a bit tempted. After all, Chu Yan is also a loyal fan of Fang Wenshui. But the thought of reporting the wrong program made me regretfully say goodbye to it. And this situation also left Lu Tianwang a bit stunned, but when he thought of her father Chu Feng, he didn't realize there was any problem. "That's right, with your father around, you can easily create better songs." Lu Tianwang nodded and said. But such a serious expression and the conversation between the two made everyone's hearts once again turbulent. "No, I didn't hear it wrong just now. What Lu Tianwang meant was that someone could casually create better songs than Fang Wenshui. I'm careless, isn't this really acting? What does it mean tonight?" First, JJL appears, then Lu Tianwang forcefully connects, and with the lyrics written by Wenshui above, "Is this really a ticket worth tens of yuan?" The audience on site was once again amazed. If someone else is speaking, they will definitely think they are bragging. But the problem is, the person who said that, Lu Tianwang. Especially Lu Tianwang's serious expression made everyone's hearts somewhat convinced. At the same time. But the barrage began to fervently discuss. But at this moment, they have no doubts about the authenticity of the program. But it raised a huge question about Chu Yan's father, Chu Feng. Chu Feng, who the hell is he? JJL called his master, and Lu Tianwang called his daughter little niece. Who the hell is this person? It should be some top-notch lyricist, which can also explain why he is JJL's master. Lu Tianwang also said that casually speaking, he is more powerful than Fang Wenshui. Is there a possibility that he is some hidden big shot in the entertainment industry? I think it might be some investor, otherwise why can't we find his name on the internet? Netizens in front of the screen are typing on the keyboard, with almost every bullet screen carrying the words Chu Feng. Because according to the program, this person is highly likely to be a big shot, but such a top-level big shot cannot find any news on the internet. Although they initially suspected that all of this was being done by the production team, when they saw the real appearance of Lu Tianwang, they no longer had any doubts. Because Lu Tianwang represents authenticity. Or rather, this program is not worthy of inviting Lu Tianwang to star. In this situation, it also made everyone have a strong attachment to Chu Feng, asking their friends and searching for keywords to see if they could find any clues. In such a situation, there is a small group of people who are completely different. They are different from others in their doubts and curiosity, but filled with anger, humiliation, and decadence in their hearts. They are the other guests of I'm Not a Star. When JJL first appeared, they felt anger and humiliation. After all, although JJL is powerful, it still has the power to fight with force. And when Lu Tianwang appeared and said Fang Wenshui, their hearts were completely occupied by decadence. Because they know that they shouldn't be playing tonight. And the situation is indeed like this. Until the end of the program, the chief director still didn't go backstage to call them out. Such a scene. It also raised a hint of resentment in the hearts of those guests towards Chu Yan and Chu Feng. So, after those guests gave Chu Yan a resentful glance on stage, they also left early without looking back. Only Chu Yan on stage is still standing in the camera. Chapter 8. Online Discussion. Who is Chu Feng? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Online Discussion. Who is Chu Feng? Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward, director, I'll pay more and play it for a while longer. Chu Yan, hurry back to the stage and tell me honestly, who exactly is your father? Please, could you please let me go for a while? I don't want to leave so early. I don't know the truth, but I'll have insomnia again tonight. At this moment, the crowd in the audience still sat firmly in chairs, reluctant to look at the already concluded stage. Even if the cleaning lady was driving people with a broom over there, they remained indifferent and even asked the cleaning lady to call out the staff. This made the cleaning lady very helpless. Although she was also very curious, she was just a cleaning worker, so how could she move the chief director? And on the other side, after the live broadcast ended, Chu Yan immediately took out her phone, and as soon as she opened the screen, she saw several unread messages. And this information was also sent by his father Chu Feng. Remember to go home early. I made your favorite dinner. After seeing these messages, Chu Yan immediately smiled and all the exhaustion on stage dissipated. Next up, he turned around and left while using the restroom. And on the other side, the backstage director was happily watching the program's ratings with a smile on his face. In the program just now, although it was a bit sluggish at the beginning, it quickly changed its attack after JJL appeared. Until the appearance of Lu Tianwang, he continued to soar into the sky, appearing at an almost 90-degree angle and achieving record-high ratings, even surpassing the ratings of their primetime programs. And in such a situation, it's all just because of Chu Yan. Or rather, it was all caused by his father behind him. No, where is Chu Yan? After waiting for a long time without seeing Chu Yan, the chief director also became somewhat anxious. But immediately, I realized that I was a bit careless. Previously, due to the fact that this program was only in the second or third tier, the invited guests were not particularly strong. So the chief director can also put on a show and wait for those guests to come and find him after the program ends. But now it's different. Although the person I have to wait for is only a 16-year-old daughter. But this girl is the one who shook up JJL on the phone and asked Lu Tianwang to ask Fang Wenshui to write lyrics for her. Especially her father Chu Feng, everyone suspected him of being a big shot in the entertainment industry. But now I am still waiting for others as usual. This is not pure seeking death. At this moment of thought, the chief director also hurriedly walked out of the room, but after searching several times, he couldn't find any trace of Chu Yan. It was not until she went to the surveillance room that she realized that Chu Yan had already left the scene after the program ended. In this situation, it also left the chief director in place, and he felt as if he had been struck by lightning, with a buzzing sound in his mind. People, damn it, why are you guys eating? People can't even watch. The chief director roared uncontrollably at the staff around him, with an expression on his face that resembled an animal that had lost its food. The staff also felt a bit aggrieved. Even though it was your own problem, it still involved us. However, due to the title of chief director, the staff had to keep their mouths shut. After the chief director failed to vent his frustration, he also regained his composure. Looking at the crowded audience at this moment, the chief director's heart was also determined to pay attention. Everyone, no matter what, must contact Chu Yan. No matter what method, make sure he participates in the next recorded program. When the audience was still reluctant to leave, the netizens in front of the screen are not inferior to them at all. Even after the live broadcast ended, the screen went black, but there were still many bullet comments covering the screen. The content of the barrage, without exception, is all about discussing Chu Feng. Who the hell is he? And the remaining netizens were also unwilling to be outdone, and opened the replay to carefully watch the process of the program. Then everyone coincidentally opened the browser and entered two common words on it. Chu Feng. So. With the concerted efforts of everyone, the two words Chu Feng immediately rushed to the search rankings in a short time. Almost 7 out of the top 20 positions are related to the name Chu Feng. Hashtag Chu Feng hashtag who exactly is Chu Feng hashtag a well-known veteran celebrity appears as a layman hashtag shocked. Feng Wenshui's lyrics are not as good as his hashtag it turns out that JJL's master is actually him hashtag what exactly happened on the scene of I'm Not a Star hashtag looking back at the scene of I'm Not a Star hashtag under such overwhelming hot searches, some netizens who were originally unaware also clicked in to take a look. After learning about the situation, all the netizens joined the army of questioning. Even some clever video creators noticed the heat and immediately made a video about Chu Feng and sent it out. Although this video is only a few minutes long, its content is just like that of the official account. However, even so, the playback volume of this video was exceptionally popular, and in a short period of time, it also surged to the forefront of the homepage. Squeezing numbly, who exactly is Chu Feng? I can't do it anymore. Who let me watch this program? I'm going to kill him. Not to mention anything else, is it possible that this is just hype? Damn it, don't worry about hype or not. I just have a special question right now, who exactly is Chu Feng? Chapter 9. The Little Girl Disappearance. Search the entire network. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Little Girl Disappearance. Search the entire network. Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward. At this moment, Chu Yen was sitting in a taxi. Although Chu Yen had some doubts about what had just happened on stage, as she got closer and closer to home, excitement gradually replaced her doubts. After all, for Chu Yen, her father is the most important. As the car slowly stopped, Chu Yen finally arrived at the entrance of the community. The ordinary community in front of her is the place where Chu Yen has always lived. If the audience just saw this scene, they would definitely be surprised why Chu Yen lived in this place. Because the neighborhood in front of me sounds ordinary to the best of my knowledge, dilapidated to the best of my knowledge, and outdated to the worst of my knowledge. So it's difficult to connect the scene in front of people with Chu Yen, who had previously invited a celebrity on stage with just one phone call. Oh Chu Yen, you've come back. Go find your dad. As soon as Chu Yen got off the car door, the aunties sitting at the entrance of the community hurriedly urged her. They all naturally recognized Chu Yen, this little girl. This is not only because Chu Yen is sensible and good-looking, but more importantly, her father Chu Feng's reputation is also very good. No matter who it is, Chu Feng treats others with a polite and courteous demeanor. Coupled with his appearance, it is difficult for people to develop any aversion towards him. Even the most noisy and difficult to deal with in the community, the aunt who has never lost in verbal abuse, couldn't help but smile when she saw Chu Feng, and her usual high-octave tone became much softer. Yeah, Chu Yen, go back quickly. Your father's dishes are almost cold. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go back now. Chu Yen said gratefully. It seems that because she mentioned her father cooking, Chu Yen clearly swallowed her saliva while speaking. After finishing speaking, Chu Yen immediately ran towards the direction of home, such a little greedy cat-like appearance. It also made the ladies and gentlemen at the door smile knowingly, all jokingly watching Chu Yan's rushing voice. Dad, I'm back. As soon as she opened the door, Chu Yen shouted excitedly. At this moment, Chu Yan's expression on her face was completely different from on stage, and due to the intense running, small beads of sweat were also oozing from her forehead, while she looked around the door. "I'm back, go wash your hands and prepare for dinner." Upon hearing Chu Yan's voice, a tall man walked out of the kitchen. That man is very handsome. If Lu Tianwang is the representative of male masculinity, a small fresh meat is a symbol of beauty. So this man perfectly blends these two together. If he were still working in the entertainment industry, half of the male celebrities would have no food to eat. And this man is exactly Chu Yan's father, Chu Feng. "Dad." Chu Yan rushed over excitedly, then hugged Chu Feng and vigorously rubbed her small face against him. In this way, Chu Feng couldn't help but laugh, but because he was still holding a freshly cooked bowl of food in his hand, he had to use his other hand to rub Chu Yan's head. "Alright, go wash your hands quickly." Chu Yan nodded sweetly. After washing her hands and returning, the table was already filled with her favorite dishes, and her father Chu Feng sat on the side waiting. Because there are usually only the two of them at home, there are only 2 chairs and 2 sets of bowls and chopsticks on the dining table. Chu Yan eagerly picked up her chopsticks and looked straight at the food on the table with beautiful eyes. This appearance cannot be blamed on Chu Yan's excessive gluttony, but rather Chu Feng's culinary skills are too superb. Although there are only 3 dishes and 1 soup. But each dish has a bright color, and the rich aroma also captivates everyone's taste buds. That's also why even the elderly parents in the community know that Chu Feng has prepared the food, because as long as Chu Feng prepares the food, the entire community can smell the pungent aroma. Moreover, Chu Feng always stays at home leisurely, so he has a lot of skill points in this aspect of life. How about it, is today's food delicious? On the side, Chu Yan was busy bowing her head to eat, like a little hamster storing food, with her cheeks bulging. That's great. After swallowing 15 in her mouth, Chu Yan nodded like a chicken pecking at rice, her eyes filled with affirmation. This scene. Chu Feng also gave a pleased smile and once again indulged in rubbing Chu Yan's head, his expression and movements resembling those of a typical housewife. "By the way, what did you do outside today and come back so late?" "Tell me about it," Chu Feng asked curiously. "There's nothing else." After hearing this question, Chu Yan murmured softly, then lowered her head and immediately took another bite of food, but her heart became entangled. Because she didn't know if she should tell her father about the wrong program. "After all, I practiced singing for a long time back then, and my dad was also very concerned about this matter. If you really want to say something, it is very likely to cause your father to be a bit disappointed." Although Chu Yan knew that even if she said it, her father wouldn't do much. But Chu Yan still doesn't want to disappoint her father. Thinking of this, Chu Yan's hand at picking vegetables also slowed down. On the other side, the live broadcast of "I'm Not a Star." The chief director is delighted to visit this hot search online with a smile on his face. It has been several hours since the end of the program, but the popularity of this live broadcast online is still ongoing. Even the discussion among netizens was even more lively than at the beginning. Basically, the names Chu Feng and Chu Yan can be seen on the web pages of various social media platforms. And the content inside is also a discussion among netizens about the identities of these two people. Such a situation. It also made the chief director more determined to let Chu Yan participate in the next recording. "How's the connection between Xiao Zhang and Chu Yan going?" the director anxiously asked. After he finished asking, Xiao Zhang's face immediately became puzzled, and the two of them stared at each other with big and small eyes. "What do you mean?" the director frowned and asked, feeling a bit uneasy in his heart. "Director, didn't you agree with this girl back then? All the information should have been with you," Xiao Zhang asked in confusion. And this version of the situation, it also made the director's expression instantly ferocious, and he bounced straight out of the chair like a carp. "What, are you sure you're not joking?" Are you saying we don't have any information? The chief director asked loudly. Seeing Xiaozhang's silent expression, the director's heart suddenly sank. He only then remembered when Chu Yan came to find him, he saw that he was beautiful and on camera, and that the program was missing an ordinary person to accompany him, so he asked him to participate in the program. I originally planned to pay a corresponding appearance fee based on performance after the program ended, but the little girl turned around and ran away, so there was no detailed information about her. It's really over now. The chief director's heart was filled with agony, and he also fell into a state of collapse. Although he knew that both Jagelin and Lu Tianwang knew this Chu Yan, he didn't dare to go find those big shots himself. Otherwise, you can directly come to those big shots and ask for their phone numbers. It would be great if they didn't blackmail you. No. Amidst his grim expression, the chief director suddenly remembered that Chu Yan seemed to have found the wrong scene before coming to this stage. Originally, Chu Yan was supposed to be participating in a singing program. This means that Chu Yan must have filled out the singing registration form at that time. And that singing program is right next door. Thinking of this, the chief director immediately rushed to the next scene, regardless of whether they were recording a program or not, and directly found the list in front of all the cameras. That's it. The chief director's face was ecstatic, and behind him came staff members with unknown circumstances. Then, in front of everyone, he took out his phone and trembled as he entered his phone number. Chapter 10. The program team cordially invites. Kneeling for Freshness. You are listening at novel.Audio. Chapter 10. The program team cordially invites. Kneel down and beg for flowers to reward what's wrong. Seeing Chu Yan's small face somewhat frozen, Chu Feng asked with concern. Upon hearing her father's inquiry, Chu Yan also stopped her chopsticks and pouted, wanting to speak out. Especially with Chu Feng's concerned gaze, Chu Yan couldn't bear to hide her father from her heart. And just as Chu Yan was preparing to tell the truth, the phone placed in the living room suddenly rings. The sudden ringing of the bell seemed like a needle, instantly infusing Chu Yan, who had gathered her courage. I'll go take a call. Chu Yan threw down this sentence and hurriedly left. Such a flustered appearance also made the corners of Chu Feng's mouth slightly upward. As her father, how could Chu Feng not have noticed? When Chu Yan walked into the house, Chu Feng noticed some abnormalities in her wet eyes. Just like a carefully disguised elk, there must be some small thoughts hidden in its heart. However, Chu Feng does not want to interfere too much with his daughter's freedom in this regard. And he also knows that his daughter Chu Yan won't do anything absurd. Come back for dinner after finishing speaking earlier. Looking at his daughter's hurried back, Chu Feng smiled and shook his head, saying, on the other side. After picking up the phone, Chu Yan also breathed a sigh of relief, regardless of whether the incoming number was unfamiliar or not, and directly clicked the answer button. Hey Chu Yan, is that you? Just answered. There was an urgent voice on the other end of the phone, with a hint of excitement in the tone, as if very excited about being answered. Well, who are you? Chu Yan asked in confusion, somewhat puzzled as to why an unfamiliar phone number would know her name. This situation also made the person on the other end of the phone calm down, realizing that they had not yet introduced themselves. Sorry Chu Yan, it was my rudeness. My name is Hong Taoquan and I am also the chief director of I'm Not a Star. Director, are you looking for me for anything? It's like this, Chu Yan. I haven't paid you the performance fee for the program just now, and I also hope you can participate in the recording of the next episode. Chief Director Hong Tao spoke cautiously. After he finished speaking, Chu Yan also fell into silence. In this situation, it also made Hong Tao on the other end of the phone immediately nervous, and before Chu Yan could speak, he was the first to speak again. Okay, Chu Yan, if you participate in the next program recording, I'm willing to give you a big reward. Hong Tao spoke cautiously, afraid that Chu Yan on the phone wouldn't agree. You should know that the current internet is filled with curiosity about Chu Yan and her father Chu Feng. As long as there is a hot search software, their names will definitely appear in the top 10 positions. And it also occupies more than one position, even half of the 10. This indicates that at this time, Chu Yan is the location of heat and wind direction. Once he successfully invited Chu Yan to continue participating in the next episode of the program, coupled with the preview before the broadcast, Hong Tao could imagine how terrifying the ratings would be. So Hong Tao Quan Kai would be so cautious on the phone. After all, Chu Yan is the daughter of Chu Feng. Sister Chu Yan, have you made up your mind yet? If you are hesitant, there is no need to rush to refuse. Just give me a reply once you have made up your mind. Hong Tao Quan asked again. And in fact, at first, Chu Yan wanted to refuse in her heart. After all, she participated in this program without telling her father. But upon hearing that there will be a large reward, Chu Yan is a bit tempted. You should know that in a while, it will be your father's birthday. And because I went to the wrong program and missed the selection, I can only bid farewell to the prize money of that program with regret. But now someone tells herself that as long as she participates in the program, she can earn a large sum of money, so Chu Yan is naturally tempted. Okay, I promise you, Chu Yan said softly. After hearing Chu Feng's answer, Hong Tao on the other end of the phone seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, and his tense muscles also relaxed with Chu Yan's promise at this moment. Okay. Hong Tao nodded ecstatically on the other end of the phone. Don't worry, Chu Yan's sister. You can tell me your home address first, and I will arrange a special car to pick you up then. That's not necessary, Chu Yan quickly refused. This incident itself was attended without telling my father. Once there is a dedicated car to pick me up, then with my father's intelligence, I will definitely know. So, Sister Chu Yan, I'll give you the address then. Remember to attend. Chu Yan held her phone and nodded, nervously looking around after hanging up the phone. Her small head carefully peeked out of the door frame and looked towards the kitchen. It wasn't until he saw his father still sitting at the dining table that his whole little face relaxed. As long as you participate in the program and receive a bonus, you can also give your dad a surprise. Thinking of this, Chu Yan smiled in her heart and then walked out pretending nothing had happened, imagining in her mind what gift to buy. As soon as Ka walked to the dining table, a voice pulled Chu Yan back to reality. So long, who are you talking to? Chu Yan was taken aback for a moment, then lifted her eyes to meet Chu Feng's smiling gaze, and her entire face suddenly turned slightly red. No, not with anyone. Chu Yan said in a somewhat flustered tone, not only failing to notice her flushed face, but also forcefully holding her gaze to meet Chu Feng. With such a foolish appearance, Chu Feng didn't want to tease his daughter and said, okay, then let's eat quickly. Say it. Chu Feng then moved away from the realization, although he remained calm on the surface, he found it very interesting in his heart. And Chu Yan dare not stay by her father's side for an extra second at this moment. However, due to the delicious food on the table, I had to eat the most food as quickly as possible before returning to the room with my stomach full.